Yes, Chair, we are.
Okay, great. All right. So I'm not going to keep anyone any longer, although I'm sure we would like to hear a little bit more from Wasima about St. Helena, but we will kick off now. So I just want to welcome everyone. Given that we are all familiar with one another, I think we can forego the introductions unless it's needed for registry purposes. So Hida, can I get your guidance?
Chair, I missed that.
Is it necessary for the members to introduce themselves for registry purposes?
No, actually, we can see them online, and we do get an attendance register from MS Teams as well. And we've got Nomfundo who is assisting, and she's marking it as people.
Perfect. So members, we will note your attendance based off of those who are attending virtually. And if you are sharing a computer, if you could kindly indicate such in the chat so that we don't miss anybody. So we're all aware of the house rules, but of course, just keep yourself muted and turn your video off throughout the duration of the call unless called on to speak. And the same standing rules that guide us in the standing committee will guide us throughout the course of today when we adopt minutes. So the first set of minutes that we will be adopting is the consideration and adoption of the draft committee report on the 2021-22 annual report deliberations for vote 12. If I can just ask that these be pulled up. Thank you. Members, what we'll do, is that visible to everyone? Can everyone read it?
Yes, Chair, we can see.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll just go through it on a page-by-page basis and just flag if there are any amendments. We'll just give it a moment for members to have a look. Of course, I'm going to be signing on behalf of Member Bosman for when he was chair, but I do count on colleagues to please just have a look and make sure that it does reflect what happened when I wasn't there. We go a little bit slower, please. Okay. Okay. Lackluster, we can just check the spelling on that.
I was also not there, Chair, don't worry.
If we can just scroll up there's an underlining of the word lackluster. I think it might be 2 words rather than 1. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it's ER, yeah. Not RE. Okay. Thank you. Can go down. Yes, please jump in if you do see anything that needs to be amended.
Yeah, it's just too short notice. I mean, it's just something that came across this morning. They just had a bit of spare time.
With regards to, not with regard to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't find a sheet go.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Just in terms of grammar, if we can go up a little bit more. All right, so it says Mr. Peter indicated, down, a little bit more down, please.
Yeah.
Okay. If we can just scroll down a little bit. Okay, Mr. Peter indicated that there were many jobs that could be created from recycling. We can't start a sentence on however. So if we can just, as was worded previously, you can say recycling, comma, however, comma. The problem was finding space. My old hat as a spokesperson is coming out as a copywriter. Okay. Welcome in Nkondlo. In Nkondlo, I just remarked earlier that of course I wasn't the chairperson at this time, so I am counting on the eagle eyes of members who were members during the time that I was not, just to assist with making sure the minutes are correct. Okay, I think we can go down. Members, are we happy with the resolutions?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, we can go down to requested.
Let's get a little ginger get.
All right. Okay, members, are we happy with the minutes? Are there any amendments?
No amendment from my side.
Happy to support.
Thank you very much. Can we get a mover for adoption?
I move, Chairperson.
I so move.
Okay, member McKenzie has moved and member van der Westhuizen, I take that as a second. Thank you. Members, that concludes the set of minutes. We'll now move on to the second set of minutes. So that would be the consideration and adoption of the draft committee report on the 2021-22 annual report deliberations on vote 3. We can please pull those up.
Sorry, I thought it's showing. Hold on.
Technical gremlins.
Okay, stop presenting. Let me just there we go.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we can move through it then. Okay. All right, members, are there any amendments to these minutes?
None.
None,
None.
Chairperson.
Thank you. Can I get a proposal for adoption?
I so propose.
I
Thank you.
confer.
And we have a seconder. Thank you. Short and sweet. All right, we'll move on to the next minutes and we'll just give Asima a moment, but the next minutes are the deliberation on the draft report on the oversight visit to Cape Town International Airport. I note that member Mackenzie and member Brinkcase did attend this oversight visit. Okay.
Yes, Chairperson.
Are we happy with the attendees? Sorry, if we can just go back, sorry. Just want to make sure that's an accurate reflection. Members, as you recall, is this an accurate reflection of attendees? Okay, no one's saying anything. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just there, however, perhaps we can, it's a long sentence. So what I would propose is these predictions, in addition to the feedback received from international airlines, indicate a favorable summer season for Cape Town. Okay, remove, however, it should be noted that Westgrow warned. Or it should, however, be noted that. With the apostrophes either side. I mean the commas either side. So it should, comma. Yep, you can just pop a comma over there. Sorry, comma, not an apostrophe there. Right, and then after however, another comma. That's perfect, thank you. Right, members, are there any amendments other than my name?
Nope, Chair. Nope.
Concur.
Thank you. Can I please get a proposal for adoption?
I propose, Chair.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder?
Second, Chair.
Thank you, members. So while Wasima saves that, we will move on to the consideration and adoption of the draft committee minutes. So these are the draft minutes for
Yes,
the
Chairperson, that's fine.
Thank you. These are the draft minutes for the 29th of July, 19th of August, 19th of October, 26th of October, 1st of November, 2nd of November, 9th of November, and 11th of November. For each minute, I am going to request any amendments from the members. And of course, we'll again do this on a page by page basis. And at the end of that, we'll do adoption and amendments, final one. Okay, 29th of July. Can scroll through that. Members, if that's an accurate reflection of attendees. No comments. Okay. Any amendments?
Nothing, Chair. I concur.
Nothing,
Okay.
Chair. That was in July, Chair. It felt like yesterday.
29th of July.
Feels like it feels like that happened yesterday, but it was in July.
Feels like a long time ago for me.
Myself
July.
and member Ricardo was still sitting in the truck on the
Oh.
airport there.
I remember.
Sorry, I missed it. Okay, so that's 29th of July. Members, can we get, we'll do adoption at the end actually. All right, so then we can move on to 19th of August. Apologies, Asima, we are making you spin a little bit. Is this the correct set of minutes? Just, I've got 19th, not the 12th.
Sorry, Chair, this is correct. Okay, we can go back to the 12th of August, but that was the next set of minutes after the 29th of July. And then the 19th of October would be after that.
Okay, so I've got 29th July, 19th August, 19th October, 26th October, and then several others after.
Yeah, the 12th of August. Yeah, these were the 12th of August was sent. It's probably just my mistake. I probably wrote it incorrectly on your meeting plan. But this
Okay.
is the next set of minutes.
Okay, the next set of minutes. All right, I must just confirm. I think I was sworn in September, not August. So I'm not sure if I. Oh, okay. All right, election of chairperson. I guess it was August. All right. Okay. Any edits, members?
No edits here. You can continue.
All right. Anyone able to adopt?
An
Proposal.
adoption,
Move to adopt,
propose.
Chair.
Okay, I'm going to take an adoption from Member Mackenzie and a seconder from Member Brinkes, if that's in order.
Yes, yes, Chair.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next set of minutes that need to be approved. And I've backtracked a little bit. We will do adoption in toto at the end. Right, members, any edits, amendments?
Nothing, Chair.
None. All right, thank you very much. We'll move to the next set of minutes.
Support the adoption.
We'll do adoption in total at the end. Okay. Any amendments, members?
None.
None. Thank you. 1st of November. And just check you're happy with the members present for the 1st of November.
Okay, may I just ask that my initial be corrected? It's actually AP van der Westhuizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for flagging. Okay. Any other amendments, members?
Nothing, Chair.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next, 2nd of November. Okay. All right. Any further amendments? Or any amendments to this?
None.
Nothing, Chair.
Thank you. We'll move on to the 9th of November. 9th of November. Okay. Sorry, if we can just scroll up a bit. A bit more, a bit more, a bit more. Okay, sorry, I'm happy. Any amendments?
You guys ready?
Okay, none?
Chair, may I
Yeah.
just, Chair, sorry,
Yes?
may I just point out that when you use a surname like my own or Van Niekerk, or I think there's a Van Schalkwyk a little bit lower down. If you use the initials, if you say Mr. AP van der Westhuizen, then the V or Van is written with in lower caps.
Yes.
If it's like that one there, Mrs. I van Schalkwyk, that's correct. Then it's lower. But if you just use, say, Miss van Schalkwyk in the text, then that V should be uppercase.
Okay.
And I think I did see that there was one. It's there. There it is, Miss van Schalkwyk. Then it should be uppercase. That's it. That's
Okay, thank you.
Just because I'm in that position, I think I know the grammar rules in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. My surname as well is double-barreled Tumaj Mari, but it gets very complicated and the spelling often gets confused. So for simplicity, I just go with Mari. Okay. Happy. Thank you. Any amendments?
No amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Wasima, if you can just peruse the documents afterwards to make sure that the Van Schalkwyk or the fun part of the surnames is grammatically correct as well. Thank you. We can move on to the next. Are there any further minutes? That should be it. All right, members, can I propose that we have an adopter for all the minutes in total that were presented?
Chairperson, I
move.
concur.
Okay, I will take.
Second, Chair.
Okay. Member Mackenzie has proposed that we adopt. Member van der Westhuizen and Member Brinkhuis seconded, but I'll take Member van der Westhuizen because he came a little bit faster than Member Brinkhuis.
Yeah, but Member van der Westhuizen is very quick out of
Very
the
quick.
blocks.
The cycling.
Good.
But faster Wi-Fi in Stellenbosch, that's why.
Mm.
Stellenbosch is was a smart city.
There you go. The Silicon Cape of Cape Town. Okay, thank you, members. So we'll move on to that concludes our draft committee minutes. So thank you very much for that. We've done that quite quickly. With the time that we have left, members, I'd like to discuss the Consumer Affairs Tribunal matter. Before I open that up, I just want to check if there are any further questions or comments with regards to the minutes adopted today. Okay, we're happy. Thank you. So those will be signed off throughout the course of the day. In terms of the Consumer Affairs Tribunal, so just to inform you, members have, as a chairperson, I've sent you a letter that I received from the Minister with regards to the Consumer Affairs Tribunal matter. I'd like to indicate to you as the committee that we need to elect or select members from the committee to form a selection or a selection panel or interview panel. And I also wanted to indicate that the Consumers Affairs Act indicates that the interviews must be conducted and the interviews should be open to the public. So quite similar to the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. I'd like to inform members that the Act does not prescribe how the process should unfold. So it seems that the committee could suggest at this time that the process unfolds like the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board interviews, in that the committee receives a briefing from the Department of Economic Development or Economic Opportunities and Tourism on the process leading up to the shortlisting of candidates and qualifications required to become a trustee, as well as a briefing on each candidate similar to the probity outcome briefing. And that this briefing should take place, in my opinion, at the end of January 2023. They'll give us a little bit of reprieve, also factoring in that we have the copyright bill. And the interviews can commence the following week after the end of January 2023. Also to note that the decisions made during the session of the meeting can be communicated to the Minister in writing thereafter. So members, I'd like to put that to you in terms of my proposal for the way forward in terms of the Consumer Affairs Tribunal. And I also want to see if there are any questions or suggestions or remarks that members might have in terms of the way forward.
Thank you, Chair. Oh, Andrika's first.
Yes,
The Wi-Fi,
Andrika's.
yes.
Member van der Westhuizen and then Member Mackenzie.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I just ask, in terms of the advertisement, is it a prescribed advertisement, a standardized one? What are the minimum criteria, etc.? And then secondly, if we could perhaps, when we once we've seen the applications, I would like to propose that we first consider the possibility of shortlisting the candidates and not invite everybody, but that we look at the response first that we might be getting from that advertisement.
Thank you very much. Member, we'll get back to you in a minute. I just want to hear from Member Mackenzie first.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I concur with Member Brinkhuis. If we can just, there should be an opportunity to shortlist candidates first, and then from there, one can then shortlist /screen/vet, and then only the vetted candidates we interview after that process is concluded. So we don't interview people and they must still go for the vetted process. And then we, the top 3 or the top 5 candidates we interview, so we don't interview 20 people for the day. So the top 5 would have gone through the screening, gone through the vetting, and ideally would have gotten the top 5 candidates, and we interview those candidates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Member Brinkhuis, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, obviously the interviews when it will start taking place and the shortlisting, this will happen in person if we have such a session, the interviews.
Yes, that's a good shout. Thank you for raising that. So let's just touch on that quickly because I think that's a good discussion point for us all to have. I think what we can do in terms of cost saving, and I'll allow Zaida to come in a minute, is we can have our briefing from the department virtually. And then my proposal is that the interviews would take place in person. I just feel that you can gauge a candidate better from having an in-person interview rather than an online interview. That's my own personal feeling, but I am open to discussing that with members. I'll hand over to Zaida.
Thank you, Chair. Violet.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just wanted to clarify that in the minister's letter, they have advertised and called for nominations. They've already got a total of 8 nominations, and they've even put a further notice. I think this is similar to the way the gambling board does it. A notice in the government gazette calling for public commentary on those nominations, and then none were received from that. So that's why we are saying that the next step in that legislative process is actually for us, for the committee to conduct the interviews, and then similarly with gambling board. I mean, even with gambling board, I know that members will then also sit with the candidates and can also decide whether to move forward with certain candidates or not. So that is possible. And then, yeah, we just need to decide. I think the question here is who sits on the panel, because that's the information that needs to be communicated to the minister.
All right, thank you very much. So I just want to deal with some of the other questions that have come up before we move on to who sits on the panel. So advertising criteria, I do note Zaida's response. I think Member McKenzie, I just want to clarify, you covered with that response? Or do
Yes,
you need-
Chairperson. But just for my understanding, so the 8 candidates that has been now been shortlisted, have they been vetted?
That leads me to my second point. Zaida, would it be possible to get a response from the department by, I would say, mid-Jan, to be fair, given that it's the festive period, on the measures taken to vet the candidates, whether by probity or other means, just so we know that we are covered when we are shortlisting candidates and reviewing candidates. Thank
Yes,
you.
Chairperson, we can definitely do that.
All right, cool. Is everybody happy with mid-January?
Perfect.
Perfect, thank you. All right, then who sits on the panel? I see Member van der Westhuizen.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm a bit at a loss. From whom did this communication come that was just shared with us? I don't seem to have any record of that. So I would like, I would like feel a little bit more certain of my position. You know, if I've been able to read this, but unfortunately I missed that email. Perhaps if somebody could just help me to find it. Thank you.
Thank you. I popped it on the WhatsApp group. It came from the Office of the Minister of Economic Opportunities. But we can certainly arrange for that to be sent to you again. Member McKenzie?
Sorry, just assist us, who sit on what panel? I'm a bit,
Okay,
if you can just
so that
clarify.
brings,
Yeah.
that's our next point. So the interview panel, who will sit on that? My proposal is that all of the members of the standing committee sit on the interview panel, as we did with the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. I see 2 hands. I don't know
Yes.
if they're both legacy hands. I'll start with Member McKenzie.
Yes, Chair, all members of the committee sit on the board, yeah. So Mr.
All right. No, I think it's just a point of clarity. Member van der Westhuizen, is that a legacy hand?
Sorry, I'm trying to look at my WhatsApp messages again. When was that sent, and what is that group's name? Because I do receive WhatsApp messages on that group, or on the group that I believe It's SCFEOT.
Yes, that's it. I would have sent it as a PDF. Yeah, we'll resend it to you. No, don't worry. Member Nkontlo?
Chair, just asking clarity. Is the tribunal that we are talking about part of the, what is that, the consumer? Yes, is it the one that sits with the with DDED? Because I think it's. I'm just asking because I'm sure it's the first time one has to sit in a panel to sort of appoint its board members. So I just wanted, for information's sake, is that what we're dealing with?
Yes, so it's quite exciting. This is a first for our committee and for the department as well. They haven't yet set up the consumer tribunal, so it's up to us to chart the way forward for how this is done and how the interviews will take place. But in case I've missed anything, I'm going to hand over to Zaida.
Lotte, I think you covered that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we've agreed. The issue of advertisements has been dealt with. On shortlisting, we will receive feedback from the department by mid-Jan in terms of their vetting process. My proposal is that once we've received the briefing from the department, that they immediately share hard copies and soft copies of the candidates that we can peruse and read and further vet. We will do the interviews a week after. Maybe the timing there isn't ideal. Perhaps, Zaida, if I could just get your guidance in terms of when might be the best time to get the information. Perhaps taking a step back, it would be after we receive confirmation from the department on their vetting and probity process.
Yes, Chair, if we get that in mid-January, when we do the initial briefing on the candidates and the shortlisting process, we can actually get all the information on the candidates there. Unlike with the gambling board, this act doesn't really prescribe how it should be done, so we can actually decide we want all the information 8 weeks before the time at least.
All right, so mid-January, we get the information on the vetting / probity, and we get the information on the candidates in hard and soft copy. We can disseminate that to the members. Then at the briefing by the Western Cape government, by the department, they will take us through the process. We can excuse them, and thereafter we can discuss our own shortlisting process and proceed with the interviews the following week. Members, is that in order?
Perfect.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Zaida, will that work procedurally?
Yes, Chair, can work.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, I
Okay.
think I see Member van Westhuizen.
Thank you very much. I've retrieved that letter. I found it. Normally, a committee communication comes from the procedural officer. And unfortunately, I missed that direct communication. May I just ask, in terms of the way forward, who's going to take the lead in the administration of these interviews? Because it seems to me from my quick reading through that, as if this is not, it's only representatives of this committee that should serve. It's not like in the case of the gambling committee, this committee that recommends. And my impression from that letter is that to a large extent, the administration, the arrangements, the venue and so on would be determined by the person delegated by the minister to represent the minister in this case. Also that it doesn't require of all of us to be present, but that it must be just a multi-party representation of people that will form part of that selection process. Perhaps if you could just help me, particularly in who's supposed to take the lead, who's the organizer. Thank you.
Thank you. So Zahida can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that we as a committee are responsible for taking the lead. And my proposal is that we follow a similar process to the way in which we've conducted the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board, just because we know that it does work in terms of our interviews. And so the members who are a part of the committee would form a part of the interview selection panel. Zahida, is there anything I might have missed?
No, you are, you've covered everything, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Member van der Westhuizen, does that answer your questions?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to go back to that piece of legislation, and unfortunately, and my apologies for being unprepared for this, but if I read the letter correctly, it says that the DDAT has advertised and called for nominations, and then it says the next step is for the interviews and selection process to be completed with the 8 nominated candidates. And then it just speaks about the composition of the interview and selection panel. The following is prescribed: interviews must be conducted by the responsible minister or by an official of the department duly appointed for this purpose by the responsible minister, and such members of the committee as the chairperson of the committee, in concurrence with the responsible minister, may appoint for this purpose. So it seems to me it's not the committee per se that is dealing with this, but only a selection of members in concurrence with the responsible minister, members that may be appointed for this purpose. So it seems to me, unless you've already had that discussion with the responsible minister and received the minister's feedback, that it's like a freestanding or an ad hoc panel.
All right, I understand. I will see the minister today and I can chat with her informally, but perhaps so that everyone has everything in writing, Zahida, if you could also check in with the department to get clarity on whether this interview process is going to be done concurrently or whether the actual standing committee will take the lead in terms of conducting the entire interview process and referring it to the minister as per the process we follow with the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board.
Will do, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And when do you think would be ideal to have that information by Member van der Westhuizen, just so it doesn't get lost?
I will try today and then hopefully get it very soon. I'll have a conversation with the department today.
All right. Okay, and then we'll keep you posted, member. Members, are there any further questions or issues with regards to the Consumer Tribunal? Okay, I see none. I would like to mention before we log off, I have actually put in an application for our members to join the Standing Committee on Local Government and Human Settlements on their visit to California, noting that Silicon Valley is also located in Northern California, near to where a lot of the activities are going to be. So I'm trying my luck and I'll keep you all posted to see if we can also join them there. I think it would be a very interesting exercise in just trying to understand how they are protecting and promoting their fintech industry and other industries that are of relevance, such as the crypto industry, for example, which is becoming quite a significant sector here in the Western Cape. So I'm just flagging that with you. I see Member Brincase's hand, so I imagine he's quite happy with that news because he has been hassling me about going to California.
No, 100%, Chair. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Not for just for traveling purpose. I've been traveling my life throughout my life. I've seen the whole world, but yeah, just not as a tap on the back, but I think you are a very forward-thinking chairperson, you know, and yeah, I think going forward it will be very, very good working with you and with the committee also. If we have a chairperson that is so forward-thinking and thinking very progressively. Well, thank you very much, Chair, for that update.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But we of course still need to get sign off on that request. So I'll keep you all posted. Member Nkondlo?
No, Chair. I think the report, for me, I think the most exciting thing is this engagement with the Silicon Valley. I think at a personal level, I've been, following the whole notion of design and innovation beyond just, the fintech or technology, but the whole notion of how in the 21st century, design thinking becomes very critical for those that are in decision making, but also for communities, as a way to help people to respond and deal with what is termed, resilient communities and resilient economies. So I was not even aware, I think, of this trip, but I've also been following the work that I think the province, if it is not through the city, that they've got some partnership with Silicon Valley. One would definitely be honored to actually be there, because I think it's work one that follows, because this I view as a very critical thing for the 21st century in terms of the myriad of crises that we have in the world. So I think it will be good if we ended up going, if our local government committee is going there. But I'm just saying, I think it's even more important for us being in this particular standing committee. So indeed, as Member Brengase is saying, I think the trip for me is a bonus. I wouldn't say that I would mind it. So yeah, that would be nice. But I think just, that engagement at that level, I think is one of the most important things that I always, every other week, I go into research and try to, to follow this whole thing or discipline around design thinking as a concept in modern democracies. Thank you for that, and really being forward looking.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the feedback. And perhaps we must incorporate an element of design thinking into our research plan as well. But I mean, into our research plan, into our program as well. Program is still being put together. Ahmad is engaging with the NCSL in America to see what we can do. But of course, it's going to be the Office of the Speaker's discretion as to whether we do go. So I'll keep you all posted. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys are excited by that idea too. That makes me very happy. Colleagues, thank you. That's everything I wanted to discuss with you today. And I wish you all a pleasant day forward.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chairperson.